right there.
So you know what blows my mind about K Mega? He's such a teddy bear, but I mean, if you figure if his thumbs were that soft, like it wouldn't compress the button. It would just like the button would collapse into his acrylic acrylic thumb. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
shit.
yeah, I mean, he wears the crap out of A buttons. Don't get me
What's
don't get me
going
wrong.
on,
Yeah.
everybody? Welcome to the pregame. Oh
If
my
K Mega was
goodness.
a Care Bear, he would have a big A button on his belly.
Oh, that's
Oh.
I hate to tell you guys, but that's already in the works. I'll show you something in the next couple days what I have for him. So working
Like
on some new backers for GRG for him and stuff like that. He doesn't know about it yet, but if he
K
listens to
Mega stare.
Oh my goodness. Guys, we have a special pregame today. We were talking about it kind of like behind the scenes. It has to deal with me playing a certain other platform. Yo, Don Foos, you got any questions for me about what's going on with the multi consoles in the house?
well, are you playing with the one where the analog sticks are in the wrong spot on the controller?
It's funny, dude. Like when I'm playing a game and
Yeah.
it's thumbstick like kind of like dependent, I have no problem, right? I have no problem playing with the DualShock 4. Yes, guys, we are talking about the PS4. The DualShock 4 it's when I have to go to the direction pad that I kind of lose where I am on the controller, dude.
Yeah. So
Like,
yeah, the analog sticks is what I mean. Everybody's got like whatever premier console you prefer. Like if you're a PC guy, like it bugs you holding the controller. If you're Xbox guy, it's the analog stick placement, obviously on the PS4.
mm,
And if you're a PS4 guy, you just don't want to like the Xbox controller just because it's good. I don't know exactly what their reasoning is, but
Hmm.
it's everyone's
What'd
got
you
their things.
well,
What'd you think of how it felt in your hands, like the weight and all that? Because I thought it felt like it was light and breakable, like I was just gonna crush it.
it did feel light. The triggers feel like weaker than what I'm used to, but they're responding. Everything is working. I gotta say before we go on, I do want to say what's up. Oh snap in the chat. Oh, it is good to see you in there, lady. Holding it down as usual. But when it comes to the controller, that little speaker that a lot of people kind of made fun of as like gimmicky and whatnot, it is actually really cool to use. Like in Infamous, you can spray paint things on like billboards and stuff like that, and you hold the controller sideways, and when you shake it, like you can hear the ball mixing the paint in the paint can through that little speaker, and it's cool. And like when you suck in like the smoke for your powers in Infamous, it goes through the speaker in the controller, and it surprises people that are sitting next to you who haven't seen that before. And I don't know, it's really cool to hear it coming from a different area, you know.
Helps immerse you, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. It definitely does.
What did you think of the quality though of the sound coming out of it?
Not bad, dude. Not bad at all,
Not
actually.
bad.
When you look at the size, because you're looking at the little holes and stuff where the sound's coming out, for the size and everything, and for what they use it for, because they're not like, I haven't played a game where they're blasting like full blown music through it or anything like that. It's usually just special effects and stuff like that, and it sounds good, man. I can't lie, it sounds
Nice.
good. Um,
Man, I think an Xbox still listens to AM radio. Like he doesn't even know what stereo is, man. I don't know. I've seen it, and this is not just a knock on PS4, but like the Wii does it to the original Wii,
Mhm.
and I'm sure the PS4 sound is better just because of cell phone speakers and stuff like that. But I don't like it. I simply don't like it. I want it. It just the quality. It depends on like where your sound's coming from. But if you have a contrasting sound, like say like a nice sound bar, shout out to Bam Bam, or like how Newark plays, which he has like true like the Dolby Atmos and all that sort of stuff, and then you have that little speaker. That's when it becomes noticeable. So when you have that delta difference in the quality between the speakers. So
I got you. Yo, O Snaps is like he does listen to AM radio, Don. So, oh man,
yeah,
I'm
that's all.
I'm
That's
gonna
just how it goes.
I'm gonna get it from both sides here. Uh,
Whoa.
but all in all, like I will let people know I've played a couple games on it. I played The Order. Did a little bit of The Last of Us. Didn't really get into that. Infamous. I played that. Little Big Planet 3. And I just want to let everybody know that like I am gonna be completely balanced. I'm gonna let you guys know what I like about the system, what I don't like about the system, what I like about the games I play, what I don't like, stuff like that. And I think it's a really kind of good direction with the family and family gaming and stuff like that. And I'll be able to give you guys the truth about things. Like when it comes to the game The Order, right? Everybody talks about the graphics. And when it comes to the graphics, like the buildings and the bricks and the buildings and stuff like that look absolutely fantastic. The clothes on the characters look really good. Everything else to me completely falls apart, and it's just a boring game to me. Like graphically, like I said, everything besides what I said just kind of falls apart, and then the gameplay in and of itself to me was completely boring. I man, that was the first game that I played on the PS4 that I was like, we got to bring that back like ASAP. So I don't know. In terms of like this generation so far, I know a lot of people argue between like the Order and Rise. That's the big thing. Like it's either the Order or Rise is like the best looking game this generation and stuff. I would actually have to give it to Rise because I think Rise has a complete package when it comes to graphics. Like they did a lot of work on the facial expressions and stuff like that. Where I feel like the Order really kind of hit its high point with the buildings and then fell off a cliff with everything else. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it seems like they were outside of the scope of what that studio can really do in the time frame, and that sort of thing. Like they're talented guys, but
Mm.
that's part of development is find that balance between, because a lot of times people get always label developers lazy or this or that, and that's not accurate, right? It's really about time, money, and resources,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say maybe raw talent, right? You add all those things combined, it really, it's, if a game falls short in really any area, it's usually one of those areas, right?
Yeah.
So always to say like lazy, it's not very helpful, right? It doesn't really promote or push the industry forward. You kind of have to look deeper than that. Why did something fail, or why did something fall short? Because the Order 1886 looked promising so much before it
Dude,
came out.
there was so much promise to it. If you think about like having all the characters doing like a multiplayer co-op and stuff like that, there was a lot of promise in the beginning. But when like more information started coming out, no, it's a single player experience. It's
Hmm.
around this one person. Oh, there's really no multiplayer. Oh, it's short as shit. Oh, like you know what I'm saying? There's so much and by the way and stuff like that that it really kind of like crumbled in on itself. And
Well, not every game's got to have the same check boxes either, right? I mean, a lot of games sometimes just have to, whatever they do, they have to execute it
you said
really
doo doo.
well.
Doo
Yeah,
doo.
exactly. But you know what I mean? I mean, they have to execute it well, right? Like an indie game, and most indie games are not graphically demanding games, right? But
Mm,
a good indie game is basically just a good game. Whatever they execute it to the best of their ability, or a new concept to the best of their ability, whatever it may be. So that comes straight down to AAA games as well. Like
dude,
it's about what you execute.
Me and O
So
Snaps played some quality indie games at PAX East. Oh my goodness. Like
that's what PAX is all about, though, right? I mean, it's
well,
all about
they
indie.
had there was a lot of indies there. There was a lot of big names as well. So it was just it was a lot of fun, yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, but when it's all said and done, you know what I'm gonna ask, right? You guys you ready to check out the intro?
Let's do it.
Oh
I'm
shoot.
sorry, I'm a little laid back because of that calzone I just ate. So
Yeah, dude, scarf down a calzone. When he first got into the hangout, he was literally laying down talking to us. I was like, awkward.
all that cheese, yo, it had me out.
He had to undo his top button before before he got on.
Oh goodness. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's do this. going on, people? And welcome to another episode of the next podcast. This is actually episode 40. Oh, man, guys, 40 episodes in. For today's show, we're kind of going Three Musketeer style. We have a couple people out today. One of them is kind of pushing those cookies out there, and we had a couple other people that had to do, personal things. And when it comes down to it, guys, family is number one, show is number two, and I can't wait to have. I really can't wait to have everybody back into one show again. But we're doing it Three Musketeer status here, and I'm gonna intro the guys that are with me, and I'm gonna let you know who couldn't make it this week. So let me start first with the smooth talker of the next podcast, that man with the golden voice, Booskies.
Yo, what's good, people? Glad to be back for another show. Let's do this.
Nice, and this is a full Fooskies. Like I said,
A
after
very full.
scarf down a calzone, didn't even offer any for us, but it's all good, man. I love calzone too, by the way.
Well, if Don wouldn't have been just peeping in the window, he could have come and had some too.
Don't worry about it.
Well, speaking of that, man, that chinchilla wearing fool. You know the name I'm gonna say when I ask you guys to stand up, show that respect, and kiss that ring. The Don.
Hey, what's up, guys? Man, sorry that we're a little short on our group, but that's why we have such a big panel. Family and life does take over for us, and we're always here to kind of cover each other's back. As far as all that goes, it's nice when we get everyone on at the same time, but it's not always possible. So.
Nice. So, well, Don, that means that you're gonna have to hold it down. See, you're not really known as a talker when I go to you, with these topics. So, man, you got to hold it down, and you really got to
So I have to
detail.
go more long-winded, more detail.
Yeah. Look,
Damn.
So I may have to I may have a follower or two after this. Is what you're saying?
possibly.
Okay.
All right. So let's do our shout outs. First of all, our boy NewarkNJ. I call him the king of breakout in Halo 5, and also the wizard of the UWP. I don't know. He might pop in a little bit later. I know there's a couple Newark fans out there, so we'll see what happens with him. And the man that comes live from the 405. I've been calling him the hyena lately because there was for a while there was a few shows where he had a picture of a hyena. I think it started in the multiplayer, but of course, K Mega, he had some personal business he had to take care of. So, huge shout out to my boy Mega. Can't wait to have him back on the show again. You know, and then of course the Queen Cookie Peddler herself. You know her as O Snap Suckers. She has her channel now is called O Snap. It's Mel, and if you follow her channel, she has had a bunch of like crazy videos this past week. So um if you haven't checked out her channel, Oh Snap, it's Mel, definitely check it out, and check out some of the crazy videos that she's been putting up lately. And as for today, we got to get into the topics, guys. I'm thinking about starting with the PlayStation Now. What do you guys think? Want to go?
Oh,
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
going on
let's
the
do that.
What's up, Don?
talking about going to the PC with PlayStation 4.
Yeah, exactly. There was this whole big thing about, Xbox's Play Anywhere, where, you would get a game on the system, and you would be able to also download the game on a Windows 10 PC. There's a lot of people saying, well, now Xbox doesn't have exclusives and all this good stuff. And then this article comes out where Sony kind of announces that PlayStation 4 games are going to the subscription service PlayStation Now. And for people who don't know, you can actually, your subscription service for PlayStation Now, you can play it on your PC. Well, so I just wanted to know, let me hit the Don first when it comes to this. In terms of, this subscription service with the PS4 games going to it, what do you think about that? And what do you think about people who kind of say that if the game is on PC as well, then it's not an exclusive? What do you think, dude?
Well, I think there's still clout to the term console exclusive on both platforms. As far as that goes, as far as just buying a closed box that can play your stuff.
Mm,
Um, PC is a more of an open platform. It's always has been, and it makes sense because there's certain people. I mean, let's just be real about it, right? They're fans of every single platform, and some are a little bit more diehard than others. And there's some PC guys that just simply will only maybe buy one console, maybe not two consoles, right? Um, or they might not buy any consoles. They can care less about them, right? And so something like PlayStation Now, when you have like a PlayStation 4 game, you're playing Infamous Second Son right now, right?
mm,
In the gameplay, if that populates on PlayStation Now, and I can use say an Xbox One controller, and I don't have to buy a PlayStation, that's an interesting proposition because I can play the controller I want.
mm.
I don't have to buy another piece of hardware because I already have I can take one of my two development PCs to do it, or, well, actually three. I can use probably my Surface Studio as well, and I can just basically stream your games. Now, the problem with streaming, and there always will be a problem with this, is it will always have latency. There's no way around it, and it will always have compression when it comes to video quality. So, in theory, the image quality will always run better on local hardware, and that's why I said there's another customer to this, right? Local hardware always run it better, both from a latency standpoint and from a visual standpoint. um, when you can run things locally and subsidize the cost of making something to run locally, it's just going to make more sense. So, it's just reaching a slightly wider audience, allows them to be more profitable on the games that they produce. It doesn't take away anything away from the quality of a PlayStation 4 game. It doesn't take anything doesn't take anything away. It just adds value to a slightly wider audience that may not buy their hardware. It's just what it boils down to.
I got you. We actually over on Snap's channel, she has a podcast that it's a morning show. It starts at like 9:30 in the morning, and we had a really good discussion about this. And I want to ask you guys this as well. And Foos, I'm definitely going to get to you on this. But when it comes to PC gamers, like Don said, like I know a lot of quote unquote like PC elitists that love to show off their hardware. All right, and with PlayStation Now, it's a streaming service. Do you think it's really going to catch on with like the PC gamer? The ones that really want to show off because they spend so much hard-earned money to get like these crazy GPUs, CPUs. They just buy sticks and sticks of memory and stuff like that. Do you think that like they're really going to get into a streaming service that doesn't really show what their rig is capable of? So Don, let me hit you with that real quick, and then Foos,
I thought
I'm gonna
Yeah,
bring
I
it
thought you
right
were
back
asking.
around to you on
I
that, man.
thought you were asking
you
Foos
could
on
go right
that
ahead.
one. No, maybe there are. It will reach out to some of those hardcore PC guys that have a lot of pride in their home built rig, right?
Mm,
But one thing about the PlayStation Now is it really addresses lower powerful hardware. At the end of the day, so say you had a graphics card and a PC card, for example. But I know you don't have a graphics card in your personal PC right now, right?
no,
Technically,
no,
you could.
run it
Yeah.
integrated.
So that integrated chip and that I know you have in that unit actually cannot run a PlayStation 4 game locally. It's not enough hardware. It's not enough juice, right?
Mm,
But you can play now, and that's the audience that you're trying to outreach. And I think a lot of times when people try to compare these two, we're no longer in just a console based competitive environment, right? We are in an ecos uh, system based competitive environment, right? So Xbox's is play anywhere, and PlayStation Now is just about expanding that base into that way you can be more profitable with third party. That's the reason why you do that in some sort of form or fashion, right? Because Sony gets a cut of every single one of those games that's put on PlayStation Now, put on their PlayStation 4, So the more people they get playing those games, the more money they get to pocket. Same thing with Xbox, right?
Hmm.
So more pieces of hardware that actually have it playing that, uh, that's what you're going to end up going there. So I think for the really expensive GPU, high end, the what I think it was like two it was like $2.3 billion in high end PC sales this last year. And that's just people that are just building up their own custom rigs, not even pre-done rigs.
He said
Um,
high end too, man.
yeah, so I mean, like realistically, it's not for those people. Will they play them? A game's a game. At the end of the day, they'll still play it. So I mean, that's what it comes right down to. But they'll do probably a select few that maybe missed out, and then they'll move on. So
I got you. Now, Foos, what do you think about this whole PS Now with the PS4 games going into that subscription based service? It being able to be played on PC and this whole thing about exclusive games. Like, do you still see these games on both Xbox One and PlayStation as exclusives? And why are people talking about this with people?
Yeah, I see them as we're seeing that the console exclusive name is really it's something. It's not just something that they're slapping on these things. If I can't play it on the other console, then it's still exclusive to my console. But at the same time, yes, when it's on another platform like the PC, how it has this PS Now coming to it, it's no longer exclusive to your system. So that's the way I feel about it. It's no longer an exclusive for them.
All right, now check this out, Foos. Telling you like with the controller that I was talking about with the PS4, having that little speaker, having Infamous actually have like functions in with that controller and such. Now I know you can use the controller on the PC as well. They sell an adapter and stuff, but see, I don't know. To me, I still look at these exclusives as exclusives because I feel like the hardware on the console, like the game fits the hardware. There's going to be features and stuff that the console has that the game is going to utilize and stuff like that. Do you see that as well? Because you're saying it's not exclusive anymore.
Well, when I say it's not exclusive anymore, I mean it's more it like I said, it is exclusive. It's so hard, man. This is such a touchy subject, right?
Man, just say
It's
what you
so
feel, brother man.
it's so difficult to really truly understand what the hell is going on. Um, I guess I hear what you're saying. It's still exclusive to PlayStation. It's it's just a console exclusive now, and that, like I said, that just gives that clout to that name now. It's going to make more sense to people, I think.
I got you.
well,
Now, oh, go ahead.
you
Go
know
ahead.
well, what's interesting because there's always diehards on either side that are looking to pick a fight, right? When Xbox went to Play Anywhere, they wanted to pick a fight because they felt like that was something they can argue about, right?
Mhm.
And think about how ridiculous this argument is. You can now play your games in more devices that you already own. You don't have any exclusives. I mean, Xbox is not trying to control just the living room anymore. They want to be a part of your whole entire house. That's where they're kind of going with this, right? And when you're part of your whole entire house and your ecosystem is all part of your whole entire house, that's how they're going to make money on everything else. People keep looking at the one little cell that's on PC. That's not how all this works, right? It's all interconnected. They all have a symbiotic relationship with one another. That's why it's so important. So Sony understands this, right? Because at the end of the day, the reason why they're doing PlayStation now on there, right? They don't have that presence. They don't have that presence like they once did, right? They don't have televisions in every single home anymore. They are not the only place. I want to date myself with saying like VCR, right? But there were the fact of a VCR and CD player and all these other devices in our homes. Now they're not. They have competition on all those fronts, right? So really the only thing they have, to occupy the mind share of the consumer is the PlayStation name. That's the only thing that's really carrying any weight. Either be PlayStation Now service to their platform. So they kind of have to do this. If they don't do something like this, then they get squeezed out entirely and forgotten about.
Well, PlayStation Now, uh, in and of itself, is also offered through different TVs as well. So
Yeah, the Samsung has it.
yeah, and like we've been saying time and time again, I think this is the major kind of like the major difference here is with PlayStation Now, it's a streaming service, so you're not relying on your hardware, which is what Don said, your local hardware and stuff like that. And performance is going to be a factor with that. With the Play Anywhere program and the Game Pass and stuff like that that Xbox has, you literally download the game, to your hardware, and so you're getting the best performance. You're getting it off you're getting it performing off your local hardware. Like I don't see the big deal when it comes to like games going on PC. I was a supporter of Play Anywhere. I feel like I know there's gamers on PC, but I think that's to me that's like a separate world compared to consoles. Like somebody who really gets into consoles, um uh I think the majority of them go for like kind of like the ease of use, the plug and play, and all that good stuff. When it comes to being a PC gamer, like you're used to, updating drives, fixing games yourself so that they run on your rig and stuff like that. I think that is a huge separation between kind of like a typical console gamer and a typical PC gamer. So I
Well,
don't.
that's also the draw for those people too. They're tinkerers, right? They like to work on things. It's like people that rather work on a car more than they actually drive it. If
Mm,
that makes any sense, right? Because it's a classic or something like that. There's a lot of PC guys that's kind of how they are. It's about like you can literally go on YouTube right now and find thousands and thousands of videos on the best cooling fan for your CPU and how people have rigged certain things and things like that. And they're tinkerers. That's at the end of the day, they just like to be part of something and they like to actually control it behind the scenes, right? That's that customer base. In regards to, and there's negative things with that customer base as well, but you know that's you know that's a little bit blown out of proportion, to be honest with you.
mm,
It absolutely does exist, but like I remember shareware days, right? A lot of times all that was all based off of the honor system, right? They would just send you a game and hope that it would send you a check to this address, this PO box, right? In the early days of PC, and the reality is, more people did it than paid for their stuff, right?
mm,
Than not, right? And so there is obviously thieves in the PC world, but there's also a lot of people that just love the game and that's their preferred platform. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, like most games are developed first on a PC for a reason. Like my game's first being developed on a PC because well, that's where all the horsepower is.
blasphemy.
Before
No, I'm just
before
playing.
I but before I optimize a game, I mean that's easy, right? So you don't keep running into yourself a little bit, right? When you're developing your software. So
Well,
and also I have nobody to tell me no, right? I don't have to go through permission. I don't have to go through these like
open
this red
platform.
tape. Right, exactly. And I can get it all polished on there and then optimize and then figure out where I want to go as far as porting it over or hiring someone to port something over or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
In regards to that, so it's just it makes sense in all this sort of stuff. Like there are two different audiences, and PC is a broad audience. There's a high end, and then there's just the average consumer that wants to use their PC for some real basic stuff. So
It's funny that you said that about developers kind of developing on PC first because, for people who follow me, O Snaps, even like Italian Clowns and Inferno from Four Guys with Quarters, if you guys follow us on Twitter, we all went to PAX East. We met up with each other. And one of the things with talking to, because I was talking to indie devs and stuff like that, I wanted to know how they felt about like developing on Unreal Engine 4 because there was a game called Plague where they were doing that. Like I was getting in and talking to the devs, and one of the first things they always say is, we're developing on PC first, and then it's going to console. Like that was like the standard among all the devs that I talked to, and I think Don makes sense with that because there's no hey you can't do this or hey you can't do that. It's open platform, which makes it to me it makes it even that much more different with the other differences that I was talking about as well. I don't know, Foos, what do you think about this like as a whole? Do you think this is going to be good? Is this good for gaming? Do you think it's going to hurt the console space? What do you think is going to happen, man?
Yeah, I guess we kind of got to wait to see like what kind of these PS4 games are going to be coming to it to really
It's
have an
another
understanding.
great point, man. Nobody knows like
Yeah,
if it's all the PS4 games or if it's certain.
if it's really the exclusives, like I'm pretty sure like Uncharted and Last of Us, things like that'll definitely be on there. But I definitely think it's good for gaming, man. I mean, play where you want to play. I say that all the time, and that's what they're doing for us. If you want to play it on your PlayStation, you want to go get a PlayStation, play it there. If you don't, you want to try it, things like that. Go play it on the PlayStation Now service. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I think it's great for gamers.
Nice, nice, man. Um, all in all, like people who were kind of going at Xbox about the whole your games aren't exclusive and everything like that. I would also like to point out the fact that when Street Fighter V came out, it also came out on PC, and a lot
Mm,
of those extremists out there that are just completely blind and it's only about one piece of plastic and stuff. They were really quick to say that Street Fighter was a console exclusive, even though they bash Play Anywhere. Now, I'm going to
mm,
talk to the gamers in general. If you support Play Anywhere, right? Don't bash the concept of PlayStation Now and streaming PS4 games on the PC because you're not going to make yourself look good. I understand that you do want to go after those people that were talking all that shit and stuff like that, but guess what? The action in and of itself did it for you because now look how stupid they look for all that time talking about how games aren't exclusive, and now they are trying to damage control like a motherfucker. They are.
oh, it's funny too.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've even seen them saying shit like, it's not or it's not or it is an exclusive still because you're streaming it and you're not getting the full experience. And it's ridiculous. The damage control is coming out
How are you not getting the full? If it's the full game, complete with whatever multiplayer, single player, how are you not getting the full experience? Like I don't
because
understand
it's
that.
720p is what they're saying.
Damn resolution
Well,
again.
well, there is a latency difference. I mean, there's some truth to that. There is a latency difference, and there is compression, right? So the visual quality is not as good on PlayStation Now. It'll get improved over the years, but it'll never run as good as local hardware, and there will always be a latency issue. So it is not the same experience, right? But you didn't pay whatever you paid for a PlayStation Slim or a PlayStation Pro, so you saved
Mhm.
yourself anywhere from 250 to $400. So you got what you paid for in some degrees, right? So
Well, dude, we broke it
Okay.
out. We broke it down in coffee casuals and consoles on Mel's channel. For a year of PS Now, it's like $180 though. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Two
but
years of that, you're over the price of whatever you would have paid for a PlayStation.
well, I'm sure they'll improve PlayStation Now over time. But the reality is, I think a lot of times people that subscribe to PlayStation Now, it's kind of a hit and quit it type situation right now with that consumer, right? Like they'll use it and then they won't use it for another 3 months, right? And then they'll use it for like another month or two, right?
Mm.
So I don't really think because the way their business model is, it's not like whatever Xbox's solution with 100 games a month at $10, whatever, $10 a month or something like that. I don't know what it was, but um, it's not the same value. It's not the same business model, is right. Like sometimes there are rentals, and sometimes there's these other things with PlayStation Now. So at the end of the day, it's kind of a different business model that
Okay.
they're offering on that. So I don't think it's a consistent, because it's a different business model and because of the market doesn't really think that that's something they have to have every month, right? It's not part of their monthly subscriptions to whatever entertainment they're doing. It just doesn't make sense for everybody. So
I got you, man. I mean, all in all, yo, we can go over to the stables and we can tell the ponies, hey, welcome to the family because your games are going on PC as well. Even though it is a streaming service, and like you said, there's latency, there's lag, there's issues with streaming and stuff like that. I really feel like Xbox with the Play Anywhere definitely has uh the better solution when it comes to game playing game on a console and on a PC because you basically get the game and download it on both pieces of hardware, which gives you the optimal performance. But with all that being said, let's move on to something that I actually believe is a huge topic because as you know, people can see we got gameplay going on being played while we're talking and stuff like that. I believe it was Jess Corden from Windows Central came out with an article stating that the Scorpio will actually have DVR functionality that will record 4K content at 60 frames per second. So with the new hardware that's coming out, the new Project Scorpio, when you go to say record that or you know you click on the guide button and record gameplay, um, if the I guess if the game is 4K and 60, that's what the gameplay is going to record as for whether you do editing in Upload Studio or you just kind of throw raw gameplay out there in your newsfeed and stuff. And I think this is a huge deal right here because I love capturing gameplay. I love kind of like editing gameplay clips together, making them look cool and stuff like that. So I'm gonna hit Foos. Yo, Foos, first, did you read this article by Jez Corden? And then what do you think about having a console be able to capture in 4K 60 frames per second? It's something that my Elgato can't even do right now. You know what I'm
right?
saying?
Yeah, I didn't read the article. I watched Next Gen talk about it a little bit.
Mm.
I think it's great, man. I mean, there's not a whole lot of 4K content that's really circulating out there for you to watch on your 4K televisions. So to have this being put out to where you can say you don't have an Xbox Scorpio yet, and people are putting this gameplay up, and you're able to see what these actually look like in 4K. I mean, that's big. That's going to be great.
It's dude, when this came out, I kind of stepped back because like I looked at like the capture devices and the capture cards that are available, and this actually puts the Scorpio in like the top tier of capturing gameplay. Like there is not too much out there that will capture in 4K and 60 frames per second. Um,
Yeah,
no, go
it
ahead.
seems like Xbox is, they're trying to they're hitting all the corners. They're dotting all the I's and crossing all their T's, and they're making this system just do everything. It's really sounding like it's going to be a beast, and I'm excited for it. It sounds awesome.
Nice, nice. I think the Elgato I have the Elgato HD60. I think at the time when we bought it, it was like I think it was like $120. I think it's actually more expensive now because like capturing gameplay and streaming and stuff has even become more popular since I got my Elgato. Which shout out to O Snaps. She's actually the one who bought it for me. Uh, it actually went up in price, so there's a demand for it. Yo, Don, what do you think about the game capture, 4K, 60 frames per second? Basically, putting this console in the top tier, like the top tier of capturing gameplay. I think it's incredible, man. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to say if this rumor is true, and then I know Jez he does his homework and all that sort of stuff, but there's a couple things I saw in the article. I don't know if it was just didn't understand certain things about the tech or not that made me kind of raise an eyebrow. Maybe like that was a misspeak or what's going on there. But it's possible to do this sort of thing. There's technology in your current PC cards that like software you can get with your current PC cards that are free that are not done by Microsoft that can do very high quality game capturing while playing. No problem. Very little hit to your performance, right? So this seems more along those lines. I think it's part of Microsoft's bigger strategy with Beam, right? You also, next thing you know, you can start streaming stuff on Beam at a much higher resolution. So that makes it the more facto place to go over Twitch. You have lower latency with the communication with your audience on that service as well, right? So all this stuff ties together, right? I know there are certain people in the community that feel that Microsoft should split off the Xbox division entirely. My answer is absolutely not. Everything helps subsidize another profitable division within the company, and it allows everything to be a lot more profitable. But they just, when they look at a product, they look at how that product uh, interacts with other departments or other parts of the company, and so everybody gets something out of it. And so this, let's call it 4K, 60 frames per second, just for now. If that's what can actually capture, then essentially it makes Xbox the lead platform to watch gameplay, regardless of where you're watching that content too, as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, and not only that, but you think about like I'm a big fan of a YouTuber called Rad Brad, and he does basically walkthroughs on games and stuff like that, and he puts them out on YouTube stuff. So when you think about like the YouTube community and the gaming community on YouTube that does use gameplay, um and the multi-console owners, I know Rad Brad, I've seen him choose PlayStation at certain points in time. I've seen him choose Xbox at certain points in time. uh to me, this looks like, if this is true, like you said, Xbox might be that go-to console, that go-to piece of hardware, unless go to PC like you said with the graphics cards, but the go-to console for those YouTubers as well, which would also better promote Xbox as a whole, man.
Well, let's say it's captured out at a higher resolution, right? Once if they When you basically sample that footage down to a lower resolution, you're basically still capturing from a better image quality,
Yeah.
right? So the video is going to be, just look a lot better, right?
Hmm.
So that's another thing as well. So.
I got you. Now, Foos, what do you think about this? Like, what if the rumors are true, what do you think about this within the YouTube community? Do you see what I'm saying? How, like, all of a sudden Xbox can be that preferred console on YouTube in general when it comes to YouTubers using gameplay, man. Did we lose Foos?
Oh man, it's two-man podcast.
Oh
Oh,
no, man! I didn't even know you asked me, dude. You cut out or something
oh.
right when you said the name, I guess.
Dude, you can't do that tonight. It's Three Musketeers. Come on, man.
It's the Three Amigos.
Oh wow, we're gonna go Steve Martin. But yeah, like, do you see that happening when it comes to like, if this whole thing is true with the DVR functionality, 4K 60 frames per second? People like Rad Brad and the YouTube community. Do you see like the YouTube community really adopting Xbox like as the majority when it comes to console gameplay, promoting Xbox like even more in that space, man?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're going to want the best looking content that they can put out, and if that's what Xbox is doing, they're going to go with it. And that's how this whole generation has made people content creators. Every single one of us gamers have really become content creators because we're all using that record function and that share function. And like Don was saying, if we're gonna have 4K 60 frame per second videos going out, that's gonna be what we're gonna be watching, wanting to watch. And like I said, people are getting these new 4K TVs. This wasn't happening, even last year at this time. Not many people had 4K televisions, but now and the content is kind of sparse out there. So when you start getting these videos out, yeah, that's what they're going to be looking for. That's what you're going to want to see, and Xbox is going to have it.
Nice, nice. Now, with me being able to play, both the PS4 and the Xbox One, and I went in and I used the different like Upload Studio. That's what I basically use to do my gameplay, my voiceover for just kind of like the content during the week, the news videos during the weeks and stuff like that. And I went in and I used Share Factory. Now, if they're bumping up to like 4K and 60 frames per second, one thing I hope is that they really update the upload studio because on the PlayStation 4, if we're gonna compare the two, uh, like putting a video onto YouTube is really easy, and they thought about every single aspect of it. You can create a thumbnail on your console to put on your video, and they really kind of went in with the tool editing and adding like overlays and stuff like that. They went really crazy on Share Factory. I hope they do it on Upload. So Don, do you think they would do something like that as well if they're gonna bump up kind of like that performance in terms of the game capture? Can you see like an upgrade to Upload Studio when Scorpio comes out, man?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something. I don't know how high it is on the priority like totem pole for them,
For
if you
me,
know
it
what I
should
mean.
be like number 0. Like, oh my
But
goodness.
but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So there's obviously, they have to look at our roadmap and see what, what things are being done first. But I think it's an eventuality of, because they've expressed how important, in non Xbox events, how streaming gaming content is important with Beam, right? And how that's important for their business model, in regards to that. So they're going to have some sort of editing tools and stuff like that, because it's not just that, but it's also YouTube and things like that as well. So that's eventually it's gonna happen. But you know, I would like to, without giving away what I know, right? But if you think about what it takes from a hardware perspective to generate this sort of game capture, it does lead to what type of experiences we can expect, right, from the hardware itself, right? There would be zero reason to record 60 frames 4K unless you're going to have at least some titles, you know, in their lineup that's going to hit those marks, in regards to that. Also, you have to have pretty powerful hardware to be able to edit that sort of stuff. Now, you can go on AMD's site and you can kind of see what type of things
I know where you're
lean
going with this,
for.
man.
Yeah, and this is all I can say. You can go on AMD's site and you can, if you do the homework yourself, you can kind of see what type of graphics cards they're using for the idea of editing 4K video. So I'll leave it at that. I
Don,
mean,
you are
there's smart.
so subtle, man.
There's some smart guys on the internet. They'll figure it out. And if you do figure it out, you did not hear it from me. But but it is out there, right? So, and we also know who Xbox partners are. That it is AMD, right? And there's a lot of debate of what's in the box, right? And in some degrees, it doesn't really matter what's in the box as long as it does what it's supposed to do, right? But if you're excited about that stuff and you're starving for information, it's out there. You can see it, and you can put, if you can, put one and two together, you should be able to figure it out exactly what type of stuff they're playing around with, what the final form factor and the final benchmark numbers, that that's all something we'll wait and see when all that stuff leaks, or Microsoft announces it themselves. So.
Dude, not for anything, man, but you are just dying to say. And I know you, man. You're a very honorable person. You don't want to really, you're not gonna break any rules or anything like that. But dude, I could just hear you dying to say what you know, man. I can't.
Well, I'll put it this way: I'm a little freaked out that here's the thing: is like the things that I know. It's a very short list to where it makes it to Microsoft. I'll say that. And so if I talk about certain things, I'm worried about honestly who it affects their day to day lives, and that's not what I'm here to do. And in partnerships and things like that, as much as I love the YouTube audience, I also have to think about my future career and things like that. But
Yeah,
um, at the end of the day, if I know, right, and I know where I fit in the fiscal food chain as far as gaming is concerned, and I know other people that know, that keep coming, to me, that are, they're much higher up, and I'm hearing from multiple different resources. Literally, it's just a matter of time before something just leaks. Right now, like the information's literally bursting at the seams. So, I really feel like Microsoft needs to get in front of this, so they can control the messaging, and so they can, set the record straight, and instead of letting someone else kind of dictate what their message is
Yeah, and then
and
kind of
what
possibly water it down and try to spin it in different directions, shit like that, man.
or just misinterpret it. Let's just say someone has honest intentions, right? Like, let's look at Microsoft's early announcement release. Now, I totally believe they had the most honest intentions with everything they had planned.
Hmm.
And I know that sounds contrary to people's beliefs when you say the words DRM. But the end result was to, if you think about it, is get more money in the developers' hands. Once you get more money in the developers' hands through the different price tiers over time, you also going to get games getting cheaper much quicker, very similar to how it happens on Steam, right? So I think they had the most honest intentions of what where they were going with that, but people were so reactionary and didn't try to understand the subject matter of what was trying to go on there. Then it turned into what we experienced obviously 3 or 4 years ago. So you know that's a perfect example where I think they had the most honest intentions, but if they didn't communicate it very well, and when you don't communicate it very well, you can't control how people are going to react to your message. So you kind of have to get in front of that and basically have a very clear message and get in front of it before the leaks start happening, because all the problems with Microsoft before happened with earlier leaks too,
Yeah,
and
well, they
people
do
confronted
have
them about.
they have an issue with leaks, and almost they've basically come out and said it without saying it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to find they're trying to plug the holes, I guess, basically.
Well, Microsoft's campus is about as big as a small town. Like you can have the most loyal guys in the world, but man, let's just be honest. Like, things are going to leak. It's just going to happen.
I can't believe how long it's been that we haven't seen a leak about Scorpio, like a serious leak about Scorpio yet.
Well, and it's
It's not
funny
much time
because
until they show it.
our boy K Mega, you know what I'm saying? He's got his GRG podcast that's on, every Friday at 8:30, and they were talking about their main topic last night was, Microsoft really needs to come out with their information soon because I know I've been hearing it kind of like behind closed doors with people I talk to on YouTube and stuff. There's like there's leaks just kind of like ready to burst out. You know what I'm saying? And just like Don said, K Mega believes that they should also get ahead of it and kind of control that information so this way it doesn't get misinterpreted, and they're able to really put forth their message with what's going to happen with Scorpio. And I'm kind of hoping they do an unveiling fairly soon as well, just because I I, I don't I don't think it would be a good idea to use E3 as an unveiling and then focus on games as well. Like, I think they should do an unveiling, talk about the specs, talk about the features, stuff like that, and then at E3 just go in with all the games and the new game announcements and stuff like that. So, shout out to GRG every Friday as well on K Mega's channel because they do a really good job with the podcast over there. Um I don't know, Foos. Anything? This conversation went off of the whole DVR thing with 4K and 60 frames per second. Is there anything you want to say with the entire like everything that we've talked about with that, from the DVR to the leaks, and when should they unveil Scorpio?
I don't know. I guess I kind of like it has me thinking if they're gonna put out a game DVR that has 4K 60 on it, is that kind of a hint that hey, this shit's gonna be playing the 4K 60 every time on all these games? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, as
Ryzen
a
Vega, Ryzen
well,
Vega. That's all I gotta say.
well, I can't comment on that, but the I mean, obviously something's going to hit that, right? Otherwise, why would you capture game
Yeah,
footage at that, right? So some are going to hit that benchmark, at the highest level at least, right? So that's something to be said there for sure.
Definitely, definitely, and I've stated this from the beginning when AMD came out with their information, and we knew that Scorpio was coming out. Ryzen CPU, Vega GPU, 4K 60, even got the DVR to capture it because not for anything. I believe capturing it like Don, correct me if I'm wrong. That could be CPU intensive as well, right?
Yeah,
Or is
depending
it
on how the software is written, but most of that video capturing software is usually done run off the CPU.
okay? Because I didn't know if it was possibly separate, like if they're just like putting in like a separate unit that does that or whatever. Because like my Elgato, like you know what I'm saying, it'll capture no matter what. Um, so you need like a good CPU. So Ryzen, and that's all I gotta say about that. But moving on. All right, we started kind of touching in on like the whole Scorpio unveiling and stuff, but let's talk about this kind of loose rumor about a Scorpio release. A lot of people believe that there's a game, the first announced game that is going to take advantage of Project Scorpio is Shadow of War, which is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor. It's a Lord of the Rings game. I know a lot of people who absolutely loved Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War actually even sparked my interest because it just seems like it's an even bigger scope game, and it's gonna utilize, it's gonna take advantage of the hardware from Project Scorpio, and it's releasing in August. Now, with that being said, a rumor kind of started up that possibly the Scorpio itself is gonna release in August. So, yo, Foos, what do you think about that release window? Do you think that's something that we should consider when thinking about this hardware, or are we going strictly, holiday time frame when it comes to the release of the Scorpio?
Oh, I absolutely think we should look at it as being released in August. I mean, first of all, they come out with the Shadow of War game and basically tell us it's, for Scorpio pretty much, and it's releasing in August. I mean, that's got to click somewhere. And then when you think about it, August is just after E3. We've already heard from Phil himself that the Scorpio progress is coming along fine. It's coming along faster than they expected. Um, I think that's when we're going to see it.
Really, really,
Yeah.
do you think that would be a good idea to release new hardware in August, and then like, you know what I'm saying, so far, kind of like so far back from the holidays when like purchasing really ramps up, man.
Well, with it being a premium console that they keep talking about, I don't think they're really worried about that. I don't think they're worried about how much this thing sells. I think they just want to get it out to the people that want it, and we've been asking for it, and hopefully they deliver it.
And see, like I've been thinking the kind of like direct opposite way. I've been thinking, no, keep it until the holiday. Have that hype train really just plow through the holiday when everybody's just like spending their money buying stuff. You are the only one I know so far that has given me kind of like a logical argument to this thing actually releasing in August, man. So I got to give you props for that. Like nobody else I've talked to
Appreciate
about this, dude. Like I was like, yeah, whatever. But you actually got me
it.
to think about that, man. Um,
Yeah, it just. I mean, I feel like they've just been putting out little hints, you know, telling us kind of that yeah, we're getting it pretty soon.
I got you, Foos.
So August
I don't
makes sense
agree
to me.
with you. I don't. I think you're wrong,
Oh well,
but
we can still be friends though, so it's all right. You don't have to agree.
No. We did a Twitter fight, and then make exposed videos of one another, and then yeah, the mortal enemies. That's just how
nice.
that
And make some
goes.
memes. You can't
Exactly.
do it
That's how
without
all
the
that
memes.
works.
Well, all right. So let's go to Don. Don, what do you think about this kind of like rumor of a release date in August? Does it make sense to you? Do you think something like that might happen, man?
I think there's something that's not going to be out in time, and it's not the hardware. It's some software related that won't allow it come out until October.
Ooh. Ooh. All right. Well, you know a little something more than what we know. So Foos, how do you feel after hearing that, dude?
Yeah, we're not friends no more, Don.
Hey,
No,
it's all good. It's all
I
good.
don't know. I mean, it's all speculation, so I guess we just got to wait and see. Don makes a lot of sense. If there is something that comes up that they need to work on, then yeah, we won't be seeing it.
Yeah, when Don words things a certain way, like you're like, okay, maybe I gotta reconsider that. Um,
Got to kiss that
gotta
ring.
kiss that ring. Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. I mean, here's the thing. Like, there's a lot. I think everyone has to look. There is moving parts. There is the hardware, but there's also software. In regards to that, you're also trying to make sure this experience is a little bit more polished, I think, than the original Xbox One release. In regards to that, so there's a lot of things that it needs to happen in. um that's more or less what's going on. So there is something I know that needs to be in part of that, and
Well,
I think the
Shady in the chat says you're talking about Redstone.
maybe Shady's right, maybe he's
Hmm.
not, but we'll see.
Yo, shout out to Shady in the chat. Yo, I do want to give a couple shout outs here. First of all, yo, shout out to my boy UK Daz on Twitter. Basically, man, like he's one of my closer friends on Twitter. He's got his own YouTube channel. He just did a music video with Titanfall gameplay, and it came out absolutely incredible. So huge shout out to Daz. Huge shout out to my boy Sobsky as well, who has supported this show and my channel like for so long, man. He was the first one in the chat. Do you hear me, Jay? My boy Sobs was the first one in the chat, so he gets the gold cup today. But yeah, so I don't know, guys. Anybody you want to shout out in the chat or anything like that right now, man?
Yeah,
We
shout out to Jay Centuries for putting them people in check. He has been checking people left and right in the chat.
Uh
It's kind of funny. He
Nice.
yeah.
says the next troll that comes in this chat, I'll put in a body bag.
Whoa.
Oh man, they're just young kids. They don't know any better, man. Just let them be. They'll learn. I mean, that's what we're here is to give them our perspective, and hopefully they will learn in regards to that. We're not here to change what platform they prefer. So,
I got you, man. How about you, Don? Any shout outs real quick before we move on? Kind of like
man, like
good.
we
You
got
could do
so many guys.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got
Right? At all of them.
TV, True Gamer, Lady Foxfire. Those are just the ones that I know that when I pop into other podcasts for a little bit when I'm working or whatever, and then just kind of listen to it in the background. They're always giving me shout outs and stuff like that. So I mean, cool people, man. What a cool community. Just in general, like there's way more positive going on than really negative.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
I couldn't ask for more support, and makes me more excited to do what I do when I'm done podcasting, which is either making games or playing games. It's one of those two, right? So
Nice. Well, I have said pretty much from the beginning that the number one feature on the Xbox One is the community, because the community definitely supports each other, games with each other, actually goes into party chats with each other, and it's really a thriving community of people, and it's not just like people just playing on the same platform. It's people getting to know each other and stuff like that, and one it's the best feature of Xbox in my opinion. Um, but with that being said, let's move from talking about Xbox to talking about Nintendo. You guys ready for some Switch talk?
the tablet.
The Nintablet. There you go, man. It seems that an article came out. Nintendo was planning on manufacturing, producing about 8 million Switches this year, and by this year I mean from the release of it to March 2018. All right, that's gonna be like kind of like their year. I think it's March to March, right? Um, it seems that they decided to double their production. So now they are going to be. They say they're going to be producing 16 million Switches. From now through the through March 2018, and a lot of people are coming out and saying, "Wow, what a success the Switch is," and stuff like that based on this information. And I want to ask you guys, because they're doubling the production, and that's not even kind of like their guesstimates on how much they're going to sell or anything like that. Does this really mean anything in terms of the success of the Switch? So we'll go to Don first. What do you think? Does this mean anything for like the success of the Switch?
Well, it means they'll have hardware available if demand goes up, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
demand continues to be where it's at, right? So, Nintendo is, and we've had heated debates even in amongst us, right? Where I very much pointed out that they don't really supply a lot of hardware at launch. We know this with their most recent little Nintendo Mini to previous console devices, notoriously in and out. Now they said this particular product has sold more at launch than any other product that they have. However, they barely did a production number over what the Wii U was. And the Wii U wasn't a very successful console for them, right? So
It was
what
big in the
they're doing,
beginning, though.
well, it was so that it was, but you get where I'm going with this, right? So what they're essentially doing is they're hedging their bets. They're saying, okay, now that we got some numbers and we can see how fast they moved off the shelves and all that sort of stuff, we have some sort of analytics we can go off of and say we can ramp up our production. And what people got to realize is, when you go to like Foxconn, Foxconn's not just making Nintendo products; they're making a lot of other hardware as well, right? And so you have to pay X number of dollars up front to get in line to get your stuff made. Is kind of how that works, right? They have multiple production lines going at the same time, but at the end of the day, there's a certain point where they close down the Nintendo line of production, right, of what they're making. They literally move a bunch of equipment around in a warehouse and they start production on say whatever other partnership they have, right? So when they're hedging these sort of bets, like they're okay, we're committing, basically what they're doing is they're committing that to whoever their partners are, we're going to produce 16 million of these piece of content, regardless of stores taking it or not. We're going to at least warehouse it, which is kind of an aggressive move for Nintendo. They're not known to do that. So this, in some ways, it is a very different Nintendo, and they're hoping it's very, very successful. They're betting on it being very, very successful for them. That's essentially what they're doing. And I've always said the real test is not at launch. I always knew that it was going to sell out at launch, and that was a given, regardless of what the numbers were. The real test is where is the landscape of the Nintendo Switch in 6 months from now, right after it launches, right?
Thank you. Does it have legs?
Yeah,
Is
does it have legs, or does it just burn out, right, from the diehards? And so that's going to determine the real success. That's what developers are looking at, and if it continues to have leg at 6 months, then developers are going to say, well, where's that at a year, right? And that's when, if you talk about third party support, if they do ridiculous numbers, like they get 16 million out with before the anniversary of Switch, you literally have you do have developers that are kind of thinking about the Switch. They have development kits, but they're not really committed to anything. Then you really have them doing s- Switch exclusive games, because that's how a lot of this stuff is, because you can't really port over to the Switch, because of the power delta is just way too under what our current home console hardware is. So that's where developers are going to start looking and say, hey, is it feasible, to start testing the waters a little bit more, and then and if they can get something running about by the end of the year or not, and then we'll see how the sales will do, and we'll see if they'll continue to support it. So these first 2 years of the Switch are so important. 6 months is one of those. The year marks another, and then the holiday season after the year mark. So year two's holiday season, or year one and a half holiday season. So
nice. I see. I think one of the best things you brought up is this isn't your typical Nintendo move. I think that is probably, to me, that is the best news, because we all know Nintendo likes to kind of like underproduce or undership to try to create even more demand for their hardware. They've done it, for a while now, and for them to be like, you know what, we decided we're gonna double production here, kind of warehouse these things and have them ship out as the demand goes. I think that is a really good move, and it shows a change in kind of like the strategy of Nintendo, with their hardware, with the Switch. And to me, that is probably the most positive check mark to that this information has given me. All right. I know we're gonna have a Switch in the house. Oh Snaps absolutely wants one. All right. And with that being said, I'll be able to see exactly what's going on with it. I did see it at PAX East, so I saw the new Mario Kart being played on it, and I look at it as a handheld. Nobody's gonna tell me any different. To me, this is not a console. All right, this is a tablet that you slide these little controllers in and stuff. To me, it's a handheld, and when I look at it as a handheld, it looks really cool.
Well,
I
I think what they were trying to do when they did that is they're like, well, it's a home console, it's a handheld. We don't know. We're not really going to tell you what it is. It's a hybrid, right? Because they're going to see where it gets traction with, where it finds its audience, I think. And then once you kind of see what type of customers are really buying the purchase, if it's a home console guy, or is it a portable type person type approach, what they'll end up doing is they'll start marketing towards those individuals. I think you'll see that little bit change in marketing too between now and holiday season, where they find a little more direction with the hardware.
it's funny as we're talking about this. I'm thinking to myself with how much that Mel wants to switch. I pretty much I bet you she's like clenching her fist like, damn, I wish I could be in on this talk right now. Like she
You know
wants
what?
one that badly, man.
You know what feels really bad is, and either I have like the world's best luck or not, but I've literally walked in the stores and they've had it on the shelf. Like only
Oh,
one or two, but like it's literally happened to me 6 times where I just walk by the game aisle because I'm going to go pick up a 4K HDR movie or something like that, and it's been there.
dude, you should see her on the computer and like talking to stores on the phone and stuff like that. Yeah, she is on a mission right now, and
She need to go to Utah.
yeah,
I don't,
um,
they don't maybe they don't play Nintendo out here. I don't. Maybe that's what it is. You never know. So
you would figure Nintendo would actually be more popular in Utah maybe than like than
no,
that,
I
man.
think I think honestly, certain, and this is off subject, right? But I think honestly, certain consoles do better in different parts of the United States than
That's true.
others, right? So like you'll see a pockets of the country that are going to be primarily kind of PlayStation heavy. You're going to see parts of the United States are primarily Xbox heavy and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That happens because it's that word of mouth, right? And so what tends to be trendy in certain areas will differ, and I think that could be the case with Nintendo as well. So
Yo, shout out to Sobski. I don't know if you guys are checking out the chat. Like, he just made the worst, best joke ever. Yeah, with my name.
Yeah, I just read it. Oh
Yo,
shit.
dude. So yo, Foos, what do you think about like this whole doubling production on the Switch, and what it means? Because like, there's people out there that are kind of like giving a trophy to Nintendo in terms of, oh, the Switch is an absolute success now. Here you go, and stuff like. Do you see it like that, or how do you see this whole
Uh,
information, man?
I don't think I would necessarily say it's because it's such a success, but I do think that Nintendo's noticing like, what I've been noticing myself, just around where I'm at, people that I never knew were into games are they actually have a Switch and they're putting it on Facebook and talking about their Switch, and I would have never seen these people talk about games and things like that. I think they know that they might have another Wii on their hands, and they're going to see if they can go and jump with it.
See, I don't see it as another Wii because I don't see like. See, with the Wii, you had like grandmothers and people like buying the Wii for when their grandkids came over and stuff like that. I don't see that appeal with the Switch. Like if a to me like if a grandmother or grandfather goes into GameStop and they see the Switch, they're gonna think tablet right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? At least with the Wii, like I think the focus on the cover was the nunchucks, like the motion controls and stuff like that. I don't see it taking off like the Wii, but if it does, it'll be for a different reason, and it'll be for that handheld reason. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of customers on the Wii were burnt too. Like a lot of customers like thought it was one thing and it really wasn't what their imagination was with motion controls.
I'm so,
He's
yo, Sob's killing me right now, man.
but you know how that goes, right? So I mean, you know, when you burn a customer before, like, do those people really come back? You know, I don't know if they really are. I don't know if they have another Wii on. I'm sure they're hoping that it's another Wii, but I don't really know if that's really another Wii.
I got you. Like I said, I think it's
Well,
like.
you guys suck because I think so.
Oh
So
shit! Twitter war.
new,
Here we go.
news here: Fusi's not going to be our friends after this podcast.
Oh my goodness.
It's over. It's
It's
over
over.
now.
um. So I don't know what if we had to make a prediction. I think it's looking good right now. You know what I'm saying? I think they kind of undershipped the first shipment. Like I said, I like the fact that they might be changing their kind of like business strategy and stuff like that, and kind of producing more. Like Don said, warehousing it, and then kind of like going from there. I do like that. I like that change in strategy. I think that will do a lot better for them than kind of undershipping, underproducing, and trying to create that hype.
Not
Um,
Absolutely.
only will it do better for them, I mean, it'll be better for the gamers
it'll
that
be better
actually
for us
want
as
this
well.
thing, and
Yeah,
they don't have to go looking for it and
Well,
going on eBay and buying it for $3,000.
it's also better for their business partners, right? Like, so when Walmart buys X number of them, and they continue to supply when the demand is hot, right? For the product. So what tends to happen is they're like, yes, we will buy more, right? So each time they do a reorder, they order a little bit more, right? And they allow that particular vendor to order a little bit more. So that keeps the momentum. The problem is what Nintendo has always had is they always had that gap in their production line, and that's how a lot of their products over the years will slow down momentum, where other companies are a lot much better at that. So
nice. Yo, huge shout out to UK Dazarus, my boy Daz. Basically saying it's a great time to be a gamer, and I have to agree with him 100%. Like we have innovation in hardware, in the works. AMD has been doing a crazy job with like new CPU GPU technology. We have play anywhere. Even the PsNow streaming service, going to PC, being offered on televisions. Like, if we go back like 2 generations, would anybody have thought like any of these features would be available, like, or even exist now? You know what I'm saying? It is a really good time to be a gamer. Just the quality IPs that are coming out. Like all the new IPs that I played on the Xbox, and the quality sequels with like Halo 5 and stuff like that. To me, it's just this is a really good time to be a gamer. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
what's great is you have so many choices, right? Not only
exactly.
from your preferred platform, right? Like, but just their competition as well. So like, PlayStation's got two real different pieces of hardware that you can choose between what flavor you like, right? Um, PC you can have whatever multiple specs, and the Xbox, right? You have with Scorpio around the corner, you have several different SKUs that really address every single type of customer that's out there. So
Yeah, we're seeing a end of generations, like when it comes to Microsoft and Xbox, which is something a lot of like traditional gamers were kind of shocked about, and are still saying like, well, when the next iteration comes down, I think we're going to see Xbox One for years down the line, and we're just going to see kind of like incremental upgrades and stuff like that, stuff like what's going on with Project Scorpio, and we've never seen anything like that before. So it's really exciting. It's really new. We're seeing games like Sea of Thieves that are really heavy on having fun with your friends. A more kind of like stream centric type game, and stuff like that. There's a lot of new things this generation.
Uh,
Everybody is a
It
content
goes,
creator. Go ahead, man.
yeah, it goes to show how much Xbox innovates this industry. I mean, just like you were saying with PS Now and you know all these content creators, it really started with Xbox,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's awesome that we're a part of that. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. Like Xbox, like with the party chat online service. You can go on and on with what Microsoft and what Xbox has contributed to the gaming community, and I think a lot of times there are a lot of people that are blinded by their quote unquote preferred piece of plastic, or basically that they're extremists and they don't want to see the good in the other side of it. But for being the newer company, kind of like the newer kid on the block and stuff like that, Microsoft and Xbox have has really kind of changed the landscape of gaming, and it's looking really good into the future.
They're definitely hungry, that's for sure.
Definitely, definitely. And with that being said, guys, guess what? We ran out of topics, and it actually went pretty much perfectly. Guys, I want to thank everybody for kind of coming in and checking us out live. We did the Three Musketeer thing. We did have O Snaps in the chat, which I was really happy to see. She was holding down the chat with all you guys. The chat has been absolutely incredible tonight. And when we wind down, we do have to go for the outros. And I'm gonna hit Foos first. Yo, Foos, why don't you let everybody know where they could get a hold of you? I know you're on Twitter and stuff like that. Basically, you know the deal, man.
Yeah, get a hold of me on Twitter at Fuskies1. Hit me up on Xbox. We can play some games, preferably Halo, the good stuff, Rainbow Six, things like that.
The top shelf. The top shelf.
Right, right. Top shelf, top tier. Um, but it's been a really good time in my life right now. My fiance just went through her final chemo on Tuesday. Unfortunately, that does bring a couple weeks of being down and not really feeling herself. But we're pretty excited to get to this milestone and this this unfortunate time in our lives.
Yeah,
And
everything is looking good, man. Like we're
yeah, everything's looking good, and we're
beautiful.
ready to keep trucking and moving along, man.
Nice, nice. I am very very happy to hear that. You guys are definitely you're a part of my extended family, man. So, we we've
Same.
we've been kind of, had you in our prayers and everything like that throughout this whole situation, and I'm glad that it's pretty much done with. Like you said, you got a couple more weeks to go with the kind of like the sickness and everything like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's not a fun time. I'll tell you what, anybody that goes through what we've been going through, I don't envy you, but I respect you so much more. I never knew the hardships that came along with cancer, and chemo is almost worse, I would say. So yeah, kudos to y'all, and keep going too.
nice, nice, man. I am very very happy for you guys. You have no idea. Um, dude,
Thanks, bro.
yo, Don, how are you gonna follow that up, man? Like
Oh, you
that?
can't follow that up,
No.
man. You know,
Hey, I
like
had to follow you up all night, and it's hard to follow the Don up.
I don't know what you're talking.
uh,
I'm nobody special, but anyways, yeah, we all go through some real stuff here on the podcast, and we're definitely really close because of it, stuff like that. So it's quite good to hear good news because with Fuski's with his lady, man, you want to do something, but there's not a whole lot you can do, right? You just kind of
Right.
sit there and hope it gets better and stuff like that. And my wishes have come true for you, so I'm excited for you, man. Excited for her. You guys start opening a new chapter in your guys' life, and it's only going to get better. And then, honestly, too, with New York and both O Snaps and stuff like that, and you have K Mega. You know, we miss having those guys here, but in all seriousness, like those guys are champs and they have real things going in their lives too. So we support them in everything they do. And then speaking of that, K Mega's GRG podcast, it's had some rough starts. He'll full on admit with the audio issues and stuff like that. But it seems like he had his first show with the audio problems fixed. So if you guys were liking what was going on there, but couldn't stand the literally talking through the tunnel that K Mega was had going on there, the it
Give him
looks like,
another chance.
yeah, give him another chance. He's solved the problem as far as that goes. And we're probably going to ride him just a little bit longer just to make sure he actually has it all dialed again for a second week in a row because confidence sometimes can mess you guys up there, right? But And then me and K Meg are going to have something kind of starting up soon because I really want to make the GRG, but my week schedule is about as sporadic as possible. So if I'm free on Fridays, I'll definitely hit up the crew. I am part of that crew, but um, the reality is most of the time I won't be able to make it. So me and K Mega are working out something. So if you like listening to K Mega, you like listening to me, we have something in the works and it's going to be on his channel, I would say soon. So look out for that. And then if you want to just get a hold of me directly, you can get a hold of me on Twitter, which is TheDon_KTR. If you're curious about what type of graphic work and stuff like that I've done in regards to gaming related stuff, my portfolio link is on there. And if you want to hit me up on gaming, it's the same sort of handle there on Xbox Live. The only difference is there's no underscores, just a space. So that's it.
Nice, nice, man. I think what happened with K Mega not being here, Don, he took the role of having the Dead Sea Scroll, and he just tried to unravel it and really go in. So,
Well,
uh,
like it wouldn't be a Dead Sea Scroll if I left K Mega out of the conversation, but since I included him, it just made it that much longer. So just how it goes.
no doubt.
Well, to finish that Dead Sea Scroll, we gotta give a shout out to Intromedia Gaming though,
No, you're supposed to do that
and
all the
one
way at
Mr.
the
100 and
end.
all that. Yeah,
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 right.
yeah, right at the end. When we, damn,
yeah. I can't. I
but
can't.
shout out to those guys for real.
Dude, I can't take up that mantle. I need to share that with you, man. So it's all good.
Nice. Nice, man. It was a team effort. Yeah. With that being said, man, if you haven't checked out K Mega's channel, it's K Mega 405. Definitely check out his channel. Definitely sub to him. He got really good content. Not only that, but Oh Snaps, it's Mel as well. Definitely go and check out her YouTube channel. She does. I do a podcast with her. She created a morning podcast on her channel every Wednesday at 9:30 called Coffee Casuals and Consoles. Big shout out to the graphic god for making that logo as well. It's a really cool show. Definitely check out her channel. Oh snap, it's Mel. Hit that sub button. You know the deal. My boy Newark. Definitely. I think he's on Twitter with NewarkNJ 360. But he likes to really promote Xbox Live and go and hit him up and play Breakout on Halo 5, and his gamer tag is NewarkNJ360. So definitely check him out on Xbox Live.
Join his club too. He has some like really good news that he has on the Xbox News for Xbox Gamers Club on Xbox. Think you'll enjoy it.
Definitely, definitely. And with that being said, I believe all our plugs are plugged. We are good to go for the weekend. I know you gamers in the chat want to hit up Xbox Live and start gaming the night away. So definitely go do that. We appreciate all the support. You guys, this is your show, all right? Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing what we do. You give us the strength to keep going, to do more, and to reach further. And for that, we are forever thankful and forever grateful to all our supporters out there. But as usual, guys, as I say at the end of every show, see you next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, guys.
Later.
Is it over? How about now? Because K Mega the other time let his after show go for about 30 minutes. he just laughed and like people are just in the hangout chatting like no big deal, and like he just like left to go to the bathroom, make himself a hoagie. Comes back and everyone's just chatting it up. I'm like sitting